Hi, everybody. I hope you're having a great day. And sorry, I'm taking a little message. What do we have? An account error occurred. I assume that you can hear me. If you can, say hi in the chat. Let me know that we are live. Please, I can't really indicate whether or not we are or not. So if we're not, sorry about that. Oh man, you guys know how I roll with the technology piece, right? We just do what we can, and then my guest is no longer with me. We just kind of keep stepping forward. So I want to thank everybody and welcome all you new folks to another episode of Conversations with Geoff. And man, like always, I was behind stage before I came out talking to our guest, which I hadn't seen in a while, and boy. I mean, it's just so interesting how people's lives are so full and they're willing to spend some time with us. So I can't wait to bring our guest on, and I think we're going to talk about some things. I had something lined up. Well, not really. I don't really plan it. I kind of asked the guest like I asked this last one, what's on your mind? What's going on? And he's got something I think is really relevant. So sit down, turn off your phone unless you're taking notes. Make sure you hit the share button. Make sure you subscribe to this. Make sure you set up the bell so you hear in the future about more shows coming up, because you will not going to want to miss this. I mean, it's really some powerful family and business discussion. If that's what you're looking for, you want to be here for that, right? So anyway, I always like to kind of kick it off before we get started by saying thank you again to all our guests and the new folks coming on. Welcome you to the family, and always shout out to my crew that makes this stuff happen. And lastly, our guests that come on, thank you ahead of time, because I know you're all busy and you're doing that. But why Geoff? Why Conversations with Geoff? Always I get asked that question, and it's really simple, because I experience, and I know I'm not the only one, man. What about that stinking thinking that goes on in your world? That's us, the Stinkin Thinkin crew, baby. We want you to say, hey, listen to what's going on. Listen to the chatter that's going on in your head, man. Right, you know what I'm talking about. It's either the stuff that gets you up, gets you on fire, or that's the draining, debilitating conversation you have with yourself about yourself. So what do you think that does for you and your energy? I mean, you're either going to be up like this and on fire, ready to go, right? That's why you're going to be that comeback. When you get punched, you knock back, you step into it again, right? Or you're going to just kind of exist and go through the day. Which one do you want to have in control of your life? Which one is in control of your life? And what are you willing to do to make the change, to make the difference, right? Hey, listen, I want everybody to understand that, we don't judge. This community is about empowering, and our purpose is about enlightening folks about the gift that we have by just being aware, man, of what you're thinking. That's stinking thinking. Because if you think about what you're about to say, you may say something different. I'll say that again. If you think about what you're about to say, you may say something different. And guess what? You may even act a little different. Guess what? The results may be a little different. And guess what? One more time. You do that over time. You take some of these things that this man is going to leave today and start to put that into practice. All of a sudden, that stinking thinking, baby, you start to beat it down. You have some tools to come back with it, right? I mean, I'm called the comeback king, man, because I've learned how to use these things through all kinds of adversity, from a little boy to a corporate guy to a divorcee, you name it, right? To a remarried guy in a new business, showing up here. And if you think I didn't get knocked down all the time, man, you're crazy. And I'll share it with you, but just not now, because we have to have our guests in here. So please remember this. What's the one word today that you've been using and you know it's the wrong word that you're going to decide to stop using? Or create some people have a curse jar, when you say a bunch of bad words, which I happen to do sometimes. Hey, I'm getting better at it. I want you to put a word jar up and put in there $1 every time you say, I can't. Every time you say, I don't feel like it. Every time you start, you know what I mean. Put $1 there. And then do something else. Put a jar next to it for the words, and every time you start to replace it. And let's grow that jar, baby. Hey, I'll tell you, the first jar I mentioned, you're going to fill that one up first. But the goal is to fill up the second. All right, so that's your homework. Get the jars out. I may have to do that myself. Okay. Anyway, hey, listen, Conversations with Geoff, our purpose, I already told you this, is to bring guest speakers in here that we speak around community, wealth, and health, and we break all those categories down. Today we're going to talk a little bit about business and some of that stuff that's really relevant now with education, with kids going away to school. Wow, man, this is really going to be a great session today. So let me just give you a quick background. Let me see, did I get everything covered? Check my notes here. Oh, yes, please. Make sure if you're an affiliate looking for a place to partner up with or collaborate, that you reach out to us. And also, too, I'm still scheduling keynote speaking engagements for businesses or sales teams or entrepreneur business related folks that are trying to get over the hump, get that comeback thing going on in their business, looking at some other ways to generate more revenue through thought processes. Let's talk about that stuff. All right. Okay, so here we go. Our guest, Kurt Grantham is a former professional actor, and I found out today he's also a singer. And I don't think we'll be able to get him to sing for you this time. Maybe we'll get him back here to do something, play some music or something. He's a husband, a father, and 3 boys and a girl, so 4 children, happily married, second generation entrepreneur. Mother always told him that great things, God create things in store. God has great things in store for him, and he's doing those great things. He's a brother and a friend. He believes that having a calling to serve in the marketplace by bringing value and love to all employees, customers, vendors, while turning a handsome profit for the future. They help small business owners connect their mission. This is important. Connect their mission to the profits by developing proactive financial systems so that they can keep an accurate pulse on the health of each business. Woo! Hey, if you're in business, you don't have a pulse. Y'all know what that means. You need to get doomed. Get the shot, baby. So anyway, with no further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let me bring to our stage episodes, Conversations with Geoff, Kurt Grantham. Where we at over here? All right. And as you're coming in, please say hi to Kurt. Hey, what's happening, man?
Hey, Geoff, how you doing?
Oh, man, I'm glad to be here one more time, bro. Glad to be here one more time.
You introduced yourself to me as Geoff with a G, and I'd never forgotten that. And I know a couple of Geoffs with a G now too, and I've got that in my head. So you're one of like 3 that I know, but you're the first Geoff with a G.
It's nice to be first at something, Kurt. Yeah, man. So welcome to the show. Thanks again for taking the time out. And we were talking before about things, and why don't we just kind of pick up that, and then we can kind of go from there. I think it's really important that people hear some of the things that you're going through that they are facing as well, and some solutions you got.
Sure. So I'm 10 years in on my rebrand or 10 years in on my business, but now in the process of rebranding it. And it's been an interesting journey because it's just circumstances of life, man. I got a 17-year-old that's about to go to college next year, and I know that's coming. I've got a 15-year-old that's 2 years behind him. So we've got 6 years. I've got 1 year to prepare for it, but I got 6 years of college that I'll be paying for. That I know is coming in years' time. And as an entrepreneur, I can see that freight train coming, and I need to start preparing. I've been saving, but like the cost of education is crazy, and the early stages of my business, I couldn't do as much as I wanted to in terms of savings, and so we're gonna cash flow some of it, and we've got a plan in place to do that. But man, alive, it brings up all the anxiety and the worry of what am I doing, and do I still want to be doing this? So,
yeah. When I heard you say the word freight train, man, boy, because that's real, right?
Yeah.
You can think you're prepared, and you have all that stuff, man. So, as an entrepreneur in particular, right, we always have that other level of, what happens if we don't work,
right?
We have that paycheck coming, we have some things going on, passive income. So, what's that freight train? Once you got through that, right? Well, I don't know if you're through it yet or not.
It's coming, but I'm preparing for it, right?
Yeah. And what are some of the things you're doing to prepare that people could probably use the info on?
I think that I'm learning through this process that I need to go back to my strategy time, and I can't leave myself out of the equation on my strategy time. I have to take some time to think through what are the ways that we make money? What are the revenue streams that we have? Do we need new revenue streams? Are there new services that we could offer? Are there different people that we could target? Which is part of the reason why we're doing a rebrand with this as well, because I know that the transactional way of an accounting firm, the way we typically do it, it has to change. It not only for my clients, but it also has to change for me.
Yeah.
Because I need to have a different way of approaching and thinking about my business that's more relational. I think that's what my clients want.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to, I think where I'm used to make mistakes on this, and get stuck and worry, was that I would approach it from the standpoint of, well, I need to figure out what I need. Yeah. I got this freight train coming, because it happens in life. This is not the first freight train I've seen. Right.
That's it.
But it happens, and I have to prepare for it, and I have to think through it, but then I have to let it go and focus on the mission. Yeah. And make sure that the mission that I have connects with my team, connects with my clients, because the reality is that they don't buy into, neither my clients nor my team buys into a mission that is, Kurt needs to make more money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
They will buy into a mission that is about helping people out, creating value, solving problems, restoring order where there's chaos. They can buy into that type of mission, right? Yeah. And so I have to formulate it again and go back to the drawing board. And for me, it's been a process of literally going to the drawing board and going to the whiteboard and drawing it out. And I asked the question the other day, what was the entrepreneurial dream? Do I still want this? Yeah. Right? Yeah. Because I think that, a lot of businesses hit the 10-year mark like mine. They don't make it past it. There's a 2-year mark and a 10-year mark. A lot of folks burn out and they're just done. And I'm realizing that I just need a renewed focus, not only for myself, but also for my team. We got to make sure that we're mission driven and that we have the strategy that connects with it so that we can measure it with our financials and make sure that we're heading in the direction we want to head.
Yeah, no, that's really powerful, man. You said a bunch of things in those few minutes. And I want to just highlight a couple of them and then maybe get back to it. You talked about strategy for yourself. Not only strategy for the business, but strategy for yourself, which I think is super important, and I want to add to that new things take new time for strategy.
Yep.
So you got to book that piece and all those things.
Yep.
The other thing you said, and I want to give you a chance to talk about the 3 Gs maybe, because it kind of fits into what I admire about you. And that's that it's not about you, it's about serving your client, serving your folks, your associates, and then the service will come to you. So talk to out of the 3 Gs that you have. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So I'm a big believer in habits and creating rhythms and rituals for myself. And one of the things that I'm really been contemplating is this concept of where does growth come from, and how do I actually develop the habit structure for it, right? So if we lived in an agrarian society and we were planting seeds everywhere, we would sow our seeds, we would till our soil, and pull up the weeds. We would have certain activities that we would do, but we're praying for rain. We're praying for the growth. There's certain things outside of our control, right? And I think that in running a business, I find myself sometimes, especially in tax season when things are so busy, I can just get so narrowly focused on the work that's in front of me. I'm just putting out fires and I'm trying to survive the day. But the reality is that I need to have done the work ahead of time to know how many clients did I expect to serve? What was the value that I expected to have created? And then go back to it. And I can look at my P&L, but it's going to be hiding there. I need to be able to unpack it and say, all right, I made $100,000 this quarter. Let's break that out into how many clients did I serve? And I think that takes me to a place where if I look at it, I can connect the strategy with the money that was made, especially at the revenue level, and say, dang, man, I'm grateful. I think there's a gratitude component. That's the first G.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the things that starts us in the habit of looking at, we've got to land the plane sometimes to be able to look at where we're actually heading.
Yeah. Yeah. Landing the plane for entrepreneurs, man, it's like, I'm told all the time, hey, Geoff, can you today we needed to land the plane and this time we're together. I don't want you 30,000 feet up and touching and bouncing. So landing the plane and doing those things. So gratitude is awesome in there too. So we got 3 G's in there.
Yeah. So the other 2 G's are generosity, right? And I think and goodness, doing good. And I think those 3 G's are what leads to growth. Generosity for me is if I can look at my business and say, wow, I did something here, and it's either connecting or it's not, but I'm going to be looking at it through the lens of gratitude. And then I can look at it and say, well, what am I going to do next quarter to make sure that we're heading in the right direction if I need to correct? But I can look at it from a place of saying, I can be generous financially with my team, generous financially with my vendors by paying them on time, generous financially by giving to causes that we believe in, but also, turning that into a question of goodness. Did I create the good that I wanted to create? Because I think that the way that we can be generous is by creating value, doing good. Like, did we do good? Did we do good work? Did I measure that? We're now asking our clients that after each engagement or each project. Did we do what we were supposed to do?
Yeah.
You good, right? And it's a net promoter score, but it really is this cycle of reflecting on the business and being able to get the lagging indicators to see if you are heading in the direction you want to be heading. And there's other leading indicators, like the net promoter score will tell you if you did good, right? Yeah. And for a lot of business owners, that repeat business of people keep coming back and they keep wanting to buy more. Back to this idea of the agrarian concept, like if you planted a seed in the ground, a seed of wheat, it produced 3 to 5 heads of wheat. So one seed produced 3 to 5. And I think that's if you do good in your business, you're going to have people that will refer you, and you're going to have people that will connect you. They're going to want to buy more. So it will lead to it. And it creates that flywheel where you can actually be heading in the direction of growth. And I think that's a habit structure that comes from taking the time and reflecting on it and just making sure that you're running the business that you wanted to run.
Yeah. So taking the time to do that and reflecting. So, you're obviously in the CPA world and accounting world because you're very analytical and logical and all of that stuff. So what do you tell people like me who are pretty far the other way, on the other side, to help them kind of lean into some of these habits that aren't natural?
Right. I think that's a really good question. I have a creative bent as well, right? So it's not natural for me always to go into that place of being analytical, right?
Yeah.
But I think that to some degree, you've got to find those people like coaches or mentors or advisors. I mean, we were talking about this offline. The typical accounting firm, typical CPA is very transactional in focus. And there's a mismatch there, right? Like, you think you're hiring someone who's going to help you solve your problems. And the CPA's thinking like, hand me your stuff. I'm going to work on it and I'll talk to you next year. It's transactional, right? Yeah. And that mismatch, Patrick Lencioni was highlighting this on a talk just recently. And I think it's really profound, actually. Like, which business are you in? If you want to be transactional, fine, like be transactional. But if you want to be relational, but you can't do both, right? Yeah. And so I think the way that a creative person does it is they surround themselves with people who who will put something on the calendar, and then when you reschedule, because it's like, I don't want to talk about finances, I don't want to see what's going on, they'll reschedule, right? And they'll keep on you. And I think to some degree too, it comes from the cadence of what you pay for, right? Like, I had a coach a couple of years ago that was really expensive. And you better believe I implemented everything he had me do, because I'm like, I'm getting my money's worth. I don't want to, and so sometimes you need to bring people around you, and you need to spend a little money, especially if that's something that's that is an area of difficulty for someone. Like, you may need to find that person who you pay them, and when you see those dollars go out the door, better believe it, you're gonna be thinking like, I bet I'm gonna schedule that meeting. Right? Yeah. You're gonna land the plane just because you spent money for the tarmac, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And why do you think it's so hard for people to invest in themselves?
I think that a lot of small business owners, especially startups, because we talk to a lot of startups, they leave themselves out of the equation, both financially and the time component, right? And what's interesting is, if you talk to most entrepreneurs and ask them, like, why did you start? Because of financial freedom and the freedom of time. I get to run my own schedule, and I get to have unlimited income potential, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like that same concept. Like, I can buy into that. Like, I can create a strategy around that, but I can't run a business centered around those two concepts. But I still need to measure it, right?
Yeah.
So for me, even heading into the season, there's a financial freight train, but there's also a time one as well. Like, I can't work as much over the course of the next 6 years. I need to reduce my billable time. So how do I reduce my time and increase the money? By providing more value, right? To help enough people get what they want in life, and you'll have more than enough of what you want in life. That Zig Ziglar quote, right? We just got to find more people to help.
Yeah.
And I got to get out of the way.
Yeah.
Right.
I love that. And just to kind of step back a second, you were talking about, when you was explaining coaching and all the other stuff. Entrepreneurs, sometimes we need to think more. Would you agree that we need to think more about the who in that space versus how do I do it? It's who can I have help me do it?
Yeah. I think the who is so important with that. And I heard somebody say recently, that we've all bought into this idea of start with why, right? Why is very important, right? Yeah. But we better be asking the question who, and it needs to be either first or second. It shouldn't be so far down the list. And I've gotten better about that, because initially my focus as an entrepreneur in my accounting firm when I started out was, if you've got a pulse and a business and you can pay something, we'll come up with a price point that you can pay. And it creates a gnarly business that's no fun. It's no fun to run, and you end up with people that are mean or whatever. Like, there's just no richness of life, right?
Yeah.
And now I'm learning to say, well, no, we're looking for something in particular. It's not just, do you fit the industry that we like to work with? Do you fit the financial model? Can you afford to pay for the services that we offer? It's also like, who are you? What is your mission too?
Yeah.
We want to make sure we're aligned.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that when the first business I did, and kind of like whatever I could do to get paid, right?
Yeah. Sometimes that's part of the entrepreneurial journey. You sometimes just have to go through that.
Yeah.
But you can't build your business around that idea.
Yeah.
Right? It's got to be temporary and focus.
Yeah. You got to start to create systems and processes, and build relationships with CPA-minded, entrepreneur-minded folks like yourself that understand, hey, it's about service. It's about figuring out how family can be and maintain family as the number one priority. What I heard you say.
Yeah.
Right, the next 6 years that you're going to be working less, and your cost of existence is going to be expanded with the college education.
Yeah.
Right? So how do you do both of those? And man, it really is.
I think you got to measure it too, right? There's a way that you can start to measure it in a tangible way. we look at, like, we don't necessarily charge by the hour for the work that we do, but we look at our time and measure our time and our effectiveness of, are we getting things done? But the other thing too is, as an entrepreneur, as the business owner, I'm also keeping track of my time in versus my time on against the profit of the business. And when I mean profit, I mean, like, what would somebody buy? So I add I'll change the profit to reflect what it would be inclusive of my salary, right? So I'm thinking about it at that net level. This business is producing this much cash. What is my time in the business and on the business? And that's a measurement that I can start to have. I have to have a goal around that and saying, well, how many hours do I want to work? And what's my time in versus time on? And what are my goals around that? How am I going to measure that? Who am I going to have around me that's going to hold me accountable to that?
Yeah.
And then can I look at that profit time index and start to track it over time and say, wow, I'm doing a better job. When I reduce my billable time, and now I'm 25% billable and 75% working on the business, like leading and mentoring and coaching, then that number, that profit for the amount of time that I actually had to sit with a client, is going to go up over the course of time. So I can measure it, and I think that we have to start to, you can get as detailed as you want with it. Like I quant out on stuff like that, right? I've got people on my team that are great at spreadsheets, but I can quant out on the basics. I love the high level, need that raw number. Right? Yeah. But if nothing else, just start measuring how much time do you want to work? How much time are you going to be spending in, and how much time on? And start to create some parameters around that so that you can actually have the life that you want. I think that we do need to go back to that entrepreneurial dream, like that dream. I didn't mean to dismiss it earlier. Yeah. It is powerful to be thinking like, I can have a business that is abundant and provides abundant time and abundant resources. That's a powerful thing.
Yes.
But it just can't, you need to make it one element of the strategic focus, instead of getting worried about, man, alive, this business is so tough, or I'm not making enough money, I'm spending so much time, right?
No, I love it, and I like the simple version. You measure time on and then, and the rest of it. It's just, people, you need to go back. It's just a little hint, listeners, as you watch the recording or whatever you do later on, go back and take some time and write down all the little things he's talking about, especially you entrepreneurs who say you want to grow your business. They want to be around in the 10-year mark like his business, right, to make it through. These are some really powerful things. And thank you, man, for like that, and breaking it down where people can understand it. I think is really important. I'm looking at my notes here and at the clock, man, and time is just zipping by again. What is it that you want people to know about you as we start to wind up? I know you talked about information around, some anxieties and depression, and for those that may have been in that space or feel like they are not certain, man, as we kind of wind it up, what can you share around that for people to get free from that, so they can come back if that's what's holding them back?
Yeah, I think that there's a comeback story that comes when you surrender and you let go of the things that you can't control, right? I think that for me, I had several times where I was kind of resting on my laurels. I was looking at the bank account, which is, it's the fuel in the tank, right? You should be measuring and looking at that, but you don't stare at your gas tank all day long, right? But it was creating a lot of anxiety in me because I would look at it go up and down, and I couldn't really predict what was happening. Yeah. And I think that for me, I first of all, I reached out to a counselor, and I got someone who would listen and who would help me to think it through. And a lot of these counselors are great with entrepreneurs. So I think it's helpful sometimes just to be able to talk to someone.
Yeah.
But I think too, it's it's a matter of recognizing that that everything I'm worried about is in the future, and there's something that I can do today, right? I'm trying to project out, and I'm I think that it all starts to multiply in my mind when I'm really focusing on worry.
Yeah.
And you start losing that abundant mentality.
Yes.
The reality is that your business can change so fast. It can change in weeks or months time.
Right.
But you've got to get out of the idea that it's doomsday, or that you're heading that for that freight train. Like, do something about it. That's what I'm doing right now. And don't get like fixated and stuck and frozen in fear. And I think that to some degree, like I stopped with the fundamentals. I stopped looking at my financials. I was scared to, even open up my bank app. And I mean, if you're gonna deal with it, you gotta confront it. And I think a lot of accountants, a lot of entrepreneurial accountants, we're kind of part-time counselor as well. Like we recognize that it's difficult, and sometimes you just need to have some encouragement and some focus and a direction on, this is what you can do next. This is something you can do this afternoon.
Yeah. Man, that's awesome, because when you talked about not wanting to open and look at things, man, I got some of that going on in on some real estate stuff I'm doing. I kind of talked a little bit about that, so I could hear you. So, man.
Yeah, we got to face our fears to some degree. I think we need to face them though with sometimes with some wise counsel, right?
Yeah. And don't be afraid to seek counsel. It's not a bad thing. I mean, it takes more courage to raise your hand, raise that white flag, like you said earlier.
Absolutely.
Key word about surrender, brother. And then help will come. So I love that, man. So how do people get a hold of Kurt? And make sure we know the name of your business.
Sure.
Yeah.
So we are Catalyst Firm on Facebook. You can find us on LinkedIn. If you go to our old web address, Grocer and Company, or grocercpa.com, you'll find us there. We'll be launching catalystfirm.co later this month. So we're about 2 to 3 weeks out from having that URL on the website launch. But you can go right now to grocercpa.com, or just look me up on LinkedIn or Facebook and you'll find me.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. We'll get your information. I think we can get that in the chat after we finish this, and people can have that. So, hey, man, listen, my friend, I gotta let you go.
It's good to see you. Thank you.
Good to see you, and thank you so much for the information, man, and just true authenticity and where you are and how you think about things. And I'm gonna take away. I'm gonna watch out for that freight train, because I got one coming. But, abundance thinking versus lack thinking.
Yeah.
Work in the business as well as, most importantly, on the business. And how much time do you want to spend? Man, just really some great things you shared, bro. So until we meet again, thank you so much for being here, Kurt. Loved it. Take care of yourself, buddy.
Thank you. Thanks, Geoff.
All right. Hey, listen, you entrepreneurs out there, you want to reach out to this guy, make sure you get the information. We'll get it to you. Hey, Jackie Brown, good to see you. You're welcome. Hey, Steph, thanks for being here. Hope all is well with you, Jackie, and appreciate your continued support. And as I wrap up, I just want to, think about all the things that he shared for you business owners. If you're thinking about starting a business, hey, here's a guy that, understands the growth patterns and the processes, and it can help you with that. And that's what we're here for, right? He talked about comeback, being able to come back. You need tools, you need steps, you need habits. Make sure you become part of this community, guys. Stop this thinking starts. Hey, but it doesn't have to control your life. So please, please, please make sure you reach out to Kurt. And if you need that kind of help, that kind of assistance, join the community conversations with Geoff. There it is, Catalyst Firm. He's got it in there. Thanks, Kurt, for doing that. And follow his company. Reach out to him on Facebook. And as I wrap up, I want to say this to you. he said something about his kids going to college and that whole thing and working less and spending more time with family. Hey, there is a way to do that. You want to make sure you take advantage of that. And he's probably got a plan that you can reach out to and talk to him about. Summertime's here, baby. The anxiety of the summer with the kids is high. I know it is. Please, please, please remember to listen. Please, please, please remember to focus on your children when you talk to them. Please, please, please remember to connect with your children, right? Because they got a whole lot of stuff going on that you may or may not know about, right? I mean, bullying is still strong in schools and crazy, and the results of that. Drugs is really prevalent. I mean, I got a 12, 13-year-old now granddaughter, and they're doing, whatever that is that happens in that school at those ages, right? Man, check in with your kids this summer, folks, right? So anyhow, why is this kid thing been so heavy on me? Because it's 3 grandbabies, that are thriving, and mom and dad that love them, and my wife and I that have the opportunity to spend time with them. All right. Hey, I gotta go. So please, please, please reach out to our guests and thank everybody for coming. I'll have information on a platform that if you want to get more information around me and what we've got going on, it's the Unstoppable Community. We feel keep an eye out for that. And there's something I've got for you, kind of 10 things to kind of help you step into things instead of falling down. So you can be part of that comeback thing. So be on the lookout for that. And ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you for showing up. Hope you enjoyed the session, and we'll see you on the next episode. Hey, you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome, Catalyst Firm, Kurt. Appreciate you, man. All right, we'll see you guys later.